You're running full speed, but the markets are faster. Quasar Markets Live brings the world's top financial minds to you. Everything you need to know in one place. Learn from elite educators and gain a competitive edge, leveling the playing field for you. Join the conversation. Quasar Markets Live.
Good morning, Quasar Markets Live. Hope everyone's having a great start to your day. Today is Thursday, the 26th of February, and the market's waking up pretty much flat to mixed. Actually, now we're going green. So as we're speaking, we are seeing a red to green pre-market start off. VIX is getting back into the teens, so we're not in panic mode, but we're still in definitely a headline-sensitive environment. Rates are slightly up. The dollar's steady, oil's weak, and crypto made a nice short squeeze yesterday, but running into some rough sledding the last few hours. Let's take a look at everything. So as I mentioned, Dow Jones, and I'm going to bring this to a 15-minute chart just so that we can see it's been picking up throughout the morning. So, we had bottomed out right around 1 a.m. or so. And then since 1 a.m., we've seen a nice move back up here on the Dow, up about 21 basis points. Let's leave it on the 15-minute chart for a second. Similar type setup here to the S&P. The ES right now up about 7 basis points so far this morning. What's going on today, Money Mitch? Good to see you. Hope your show's going well, my friend. So NASDAQ VIX down around 1759, like I said. So that is cooling off. Looks like we got a little move to maybe the, to let the markets run here, as risk, like I said, has been moving to the downside. So looking pretty good, rates cooling off slightly here. Not that great, not that bad, nothing to really see so far. Dollar, like I said, strengthened a little, but again, not really much of a move there. Gold and metals not giving us much of a tell. They might be down slightly. Gold's actually now up slightly. But quite honestly, they're in the same range they were in. Silver's done a little bit of a pullback, but a pullback to 87. Not much to worry about there, in my opinion. Seeing a little bit of cooling off across oil, too, and gas. So maybe, Iran, we can figure out this negotiating. I believe they're going back to the table tomorrow. We'll see more on that. As I mentioned, we saw a great squeeze on Bitcoin, got as high as 70K, wicked above it. Broke right back down from that level, though. I will again make sure we reiterate, we're going to see some really good squeezes like that in a down market, and that's what we're still in. The news there, we'll talk with BigBeat a little bit more about, see if he thinks it's got anything to do with it. Supposedly, Jane Street has been dumping on us retail for the last several months. Every day at 10 a.m., it's reported that they were dumping Bitcoin, causing the drop in the market, and then buying it back less expensive every night and rinsing and repeating it. we'll see if that's the case. We'll see. Again, none of that has been proven. It's just definitely been bandied around on crypto Twitter. And I love a good tinfoil hat story if I can find one. And the reason supposedly that they pulled off from doing that is they are at risk in an insider trading scandal. Whistleblower being the trustee for the breakup of Terraform Labs, Terra Luna. Our boy Do Kim's famous implosion, pointing that Jane Street was trading against the market and led to the exasperation of the downfall that led to the downfall of FTX and SBF and Alameda and, a 2-year bear market. So now being blamed on Jane Street also. So they seem to be getting a lot of pressure here, but we'll see if that's the case. The biggest thing I noticed, ETF inflows last 2 days on the crypto market has been really good. So if that is actual institutionals buying back into Bitcoin at this lower price, that could be the start of our rebound. If it's retail and, weaker hands, we'll see that flow right back to us. So that's what we're looking at. I do think it's the latter. And again, this is just a relief rally, and we still have a little bit of a bear market, especially until we get more clarity from the Clarity Act. So we'll see what happens there. Overseas, we're mixed. Asia is having a little bit of a rough go. Hang Seng down about 1.5%. The Nikkei down about 1.25%. But in Europe, we see the stocks up slightly. So a little bit of a mixed read off of our foreign markets. So looking through the sectors of the S&P so far, energy with WTI being down and Brent down and nat gas down. Not surprising to see energy taking a little bit of a breather here. Utilities are pretty flat this morning. Same thing with materials. Tech, and we'll be talking a lot of tech. And what you're going to see is I'm not really as focused on wider breadth sectors today. It's sort of about the type of things they do within those sectors. And what I mean there is we're seeing a bid by the storage names again today. So we've seen a nice little move up by SanDisk, Western Digital, and those folks. We had seen a little bit of a step back on the software side, still under pressure after Snowflake's earnings. So earnings are really a big part of what is making the decision today. It's not as much based on, macro. And the big one, of course, is NVIDIA. Now up about 85 basis points here this morning, trading at 197.24. Market sort of shrugging off the earnings, to be honest with you. Only seeing modest gains. Revenue for their fourth-year fiscal hit $68 billion, and the numbers were great. I mean, I was watching analysts and listening to the call last night with folks at the Prosper Room, and everything was coming in great. It's just but were you not expecting that to be the case? Is sort of what we're looking at so far. I do think that is, the key here to keep an eye on, or that we're looking at. The debate sort of shifted away from the near-term results. And again, it's all about the AI CapEx spend. Is it, manageable? I've seen some talk on the NVIDIA ones, the one bear in the analyst sector there, talking about the fact that they have, because they haven't shored up their supply lines, and their supply chain, they're going to allow some competitors a little bit of leeway in there. So that's interesting. What I haven't looked at yet is the chip sector as a whole. And yeah, which usually the case. If NVIDIA goes up, it brings up the broader sector, but it tends to be a negative influence on AMD. They are almost inversely related at this point. Broadband can go either way depending on what it is. It's really the two that I've been watching lately is the inverse of AMD and NVIDIA still playing out. NVIDIA did say the data center unit, which houses its market-leading chips, is booming. 91% of sales. That was $62 billion of the revenue we just spoke about. They gave strong guidance, $78 billion in revenues, which was ahead of even the most bullish buy side expectations. So again, you would have thought that the market would be moving up, or it would be moving up more. The fact that it went red to green and now is moving up, maybe we do see that type of reaction when the cash market opens. But I think the bar was pretty hard. I think people still want to make sure, um, you know, that it isn't just them. I think is more sort of the takeaway that I had of it. I mentioned some of the SanDisk and some of the other storage names were moving up a little bit. The earnings, because CEO Jensen Huang touched on the soaring memory costs during the earnings call, although he did hint that those skyrocketing prices will not affect profitability much, bringing it down. I mean, there was 70 something percent gross margin. I mean, it's just crazy. So, and again, what we've seen is memory chip makers, Micron was up, Seagate was up, Western Digital was up. We'll see if they all are now again. They are. So you might see a nice run on some storage names today. Those would be a sector that I would definitely, or a subsector of the industry that I would be keeping an eye on here today. Let's take a look here. C3 AI is down about 22% after their earnings. So the other side of this, AI software, like we talked about, definitely under stress. And we'll go through a few of them here that are definitely down today. They reported a slide in their total revenue and a bigger loss than expected. So that AI boom doesn't mean good times for every company within that business sector. Keep that in mind. They posted 53.3 million in revenue, down nearly 100 million from the year earlier period. So, and the people were expecting a loss, but not a lot. We're expecting it to be down, but just not as bad as it was. So it does show it's not every name, and to me, it also shows the pick and shovels are still the winners, right? BigBeat talked about it. If you need those Micron and all those chips from Micron, all those, that storage that Seagate provides, the storage that Western Digital provides, the storage that SanDisk provides. We've seen, I don't know if it's still moving up. There was that RXT Rackspace that, is working with Palantir on their stuff, that's still moving up nicely here in the pre-market, about 34% after, because again, this is one that a play in that sector of picks and shovels, the switches, the racks that they go on. Those are the things that are moving first. The companies that are sort of theoretical and not making money yet, they're laggards. Stick to where, companies that are already making money. We saw what Corning has done in the last few months, right? GLW just absolutely has taken off. If you look back their last earnings, in the end of January, they've gone from 91 to 160 as everybody figured out that, along with Gorilla Glass that's in all those Apple devices, they are the fiber, optic cable company for most of these data centers. So, look for the picks and shovels out there. It's not always the sexy names. Again, I have to laugh because BigBeat's been saying that for so long. And I see that BlackRock now has a commercial about it. And they showed like the Wild West and the guys going to the gold rush in California. And then they decide to sell the actual picks and shovels that they were using and made all the money. That's what we're saying, the same type of thing. Another one there, Salesforce, is perfect example of what we're seeing in the software space. Down only about 1.68%, but again, that is after the fact that they are down 27% year to date, 37% over the last year. The quarter was fine, but the forward view isn't. So there's a re-rate catalyst. Analysts are having to go out, investors, traders are going out and saying, okay, Salesforce isn't going away anytime soon, again, as BigBeat mentioned yesterday with these software companies. But now it's about realizing, what are they worth? Are they a $180 billion company, or are they higher or lower than that? And that's what the market's trying to reprice. Another one that I saw that was interesting, and it shows the shift we're seeing in some of the youth. And what we're seeing there is that the younger generation, not as attached to coffee, and maybe part of that with the ridiculous prices that coffee has shot up to, but energy drinks, Celsius Holdings up 13.85% here after their earnings came out. And with that being said, they actually had an EPS miss. They did have a revenue beat of about 14%, but that definitely, it bodes still pretty well for them. That's not a bad run. And again, they really talk to the fact that this generation, the younger generation, is very much more energy drink driven than coffee driven. We've seen the change in, it is interesting. You have to evolve as the market evolves. Because the other thing I point out is the alcohol names and what's happened to them lately as consumers shift to Brown-Forman here again, another one that has gotten really beaten up, down 15% in the last year. Diageo's down almost 50% in the last year as the younger consumer shifts their habits to other things. So Celsius is one to keep an eye on. This probably isn't done. Still has some legs to it. What else was I looking at so far this morning? Nutrenics. This is one based upon AMD. It's funny, AMD, as I mentioned, is down, but Nutrenics has soared about 15% in the last 24 hours after the cloud computing company announced that they are working with a strategic partnership with AMD. The companies will jointly develop some infrastructure for AI again, so picks and shovels. AMD is going to buy 150 million of their stock at 36.26 a share. So they also reported stronger than expected earnings and revenue for the fiscal quarter. So big day for them, up, like I said, 15% in the last 2 days. So that's a pretty big one here. And then I got to talk to BigBeat more about it afterwards. Again, circular economy. If it's not NVIDIA buying another company's stock, if it's not AMD, it's not Meta, they're all, just so intertwined at this point. They're turning into ETFs. It's insane to me a little bit about how this thing has changed so quickly into it. One that I talk about that you don't hear too often is my favorite jellies, Smuckers. Where is it on my chart here? There it is. The Smuckers company up nicely here, about 7%, trading at 114 here after the owner of brands such as Hostess and Folgers posted adjusted fourth quarter earnings of $2.38 a share. That beat analyst expectation. Their net sales rose 7% and beat expectations also. So some of the food companies are making a nice little comeback, Smuckers being one of them so far today. Other names I was looking at so far this morning. Well, let's just look at the list. Chime Financial up about 8% after their earnings. They did post both an EPS beat and a top-line revenue beat. They were expected to lose close to 18 cents, lost 12 cents on 596 million. So again, fintech company, neobank, doing pretty well. Nice little move to the upside here on their earnings. the companies I was watching so far. Quantum names are moving up today, and a lot of that has to do with D-Wave Quantum, which is QBTS for those that don't know. They're up about 10% here in the last 24 hours. Their fourth quarter revenue was a miss, but their operating loss was significantly narrowed. The company cut back the losses in the quarter from 42.3 million. They had lost 144 million in the fourth quarter of last year. So bookings were also strong. They closed 13.4 million for the fourth quarter, a 471% increase. The metric, which represents customer orders that are expected to generate revenue in the future, nicely shows them moving to the upside. And what we do see is some other names like Rigetti moving up on that news. IonQ was another one moving up on that news. So again, some of those names are getting a little bit of a buzz today based upon QUBT's earnings report. So good to see that. What else did I have for us today? We do have, that came in already. I didn't see them. Jobless claims should have come in. I don't see the market moving. Hasn't done much. So whatever it was, didn't blow it away, but we did have that. We do have a decent amount of earnings today to keep an eye on also on the calendar. So you've got a bunch of big ones going off later today. Give me 1 second. I had the list right here. Thought I did. Here we go. So before the bell, Warner Brothers has listed Vistra. I haven't seen what's going on there. VST, nuclear name. Up slightly 1.73%. So they did have an earnings and EPS miss, it looks like. But Vista coming in. Celsius I already talked about. D-Wave I talked about. After the close today, we do have Duolingo, SoundHound AI, Rocket Lab, CoreWeave, Zscaler, and Dell Technologies. I do think CoreWeave is going to be a big one for the Bitcoin miners and data center names. Maybe we get some updates on their fundraising. You know, they're part of that Blue Owl issue there. So that could be part of it. We do have some Fed talk. We have Vice Chair Bowman in front of the Senate Banking Committee. So we'll see what happens there. That's really the big stuff. You got Chicago Fed President Goolsbee on Fox later on. Also, not too much, though, going on so far when it comes to Fed speak today. Yeah, that's really it. Did see the latest American Association of Individual Investor survey came out, and bullishness has fallen to a 3-month low here. So it has come down a little bit. 33.2% of the respondents were bullish about the stock market over the next 6 months. So that has come down. Yeah, each of the last like 3 or 4 reports. So we'll see there what we get. Let's take a look here again through what's going on so far. VIX at 1756, continuing to move down. So I guess with NVIDIA not really moving the needle across the home market, volatility starting to compress a little bit, or the premium for volatility protection at least is being lessened. Rates didn't really do much off of the jobless claims at all, so not much there. Same thing, DXY, not much of a move. Taking a look, advanced decline, pretty neutral, only at five. It's plus 571 right now. So it is positive, but it's not really that strong. And tick fairly muted so far. So not much really going on there. Looking at the rest of the Mag 7, most of them are starting to go to the green here. So again, we are seeing after, everybody sort of digesting the news, looking through things from NVIDIA's earnings and realizing that, it was pretty good as good sort of gets there. So that's really going to be the big deal. We do have a bunch of, I forgot about this too, execs from the major tech firms meeting with the president next week. And this is about trying to provide their own power for the AI data centers. So that's going to be a big name today. That could get VST, a bunch of the others. That's what Money Mitch was talking about earlier. So we'll see what comes from there. And again, if you don't know, during the State of the Union, he did say that, to try to make sure that the energy costs don't soar for us regular folks, they're going to authorize and push the hyperscaler, the data center companies to put in their own energy, be responsible for their own energy for it. And he would push it through. We also have Netflix's CEO will be at the White House today for meetings about the Warner Brothers Discovery deal. So we'll see what comes from that. Those are really the big things. Samsung did kick off its new phone yesterday. That has got some people looking. I'll be asking BigBeat if he's got a little bit of buyer's remorse. He switched over to the iPhone. He had always been a Samsung guy, so I do wonder there what the case is. And that's what we're looking at so far. Going in here, we are about 3 minutes from the top of the hour. Google's up about 16 basis points, looking pretty strong so far. Microsoft up 36 basis points. Amazon up a little bit. Meta and Tesla are the laggards so far, both down a little bit. And as I mentioned, Netflix on, what looks like the switch from Warner Brothers Discovery favoring, the Netflix deal. Looks like they're now favoring the Skydance deal. So that's what we'll be looking at today. So again, sectors, Money Mitch brought you the energy sector in. I'm telling you also take a look at those, storage names today and the quantum names. They might catch a bid also. So those are the ones we're looking at so far. Trying to find the jobs number info here. There it is. So it does say it is a low hire labor market, appears to be here to stay. Number of people being hired slowed sharply last year. Where is the actual numbers here? It says jobless claims is rising less than expected. I don't know if that's really true, though. We'll see. We'll see how that plays out. This is one of those ones, like I said, just doesn't match up with what we're hearing from folks that are in the labor market looking for a job, and also folks that are in the industry of finding jobs for people. Doesn't matter. The numbers on the jobless claims don't really come in with what they're saying. So that's what's got me a little confused on that one. We'll see what BigBeat has to say when he comes in. The claims came in at 212,000. Just trying to see if any other news came across it on Twitter so far. Also seeing big bankruptcies have hit the highest rate since COVID, says Bloomberg. So that's a little breakdown. We'll definitely have to get a take from BigBeat on here today. That's the big things up. I see that Fed Marin is speaking too. Private credit not yet worrying for them. Okay, well, that's what he's sticking with that. Again, we got a lot to ask BigBeat about. I see he's almost ready to go here. Let me get his intro started, and I'll put him on the spot.
When markets move, Stephen E. Orr takes the chair. From the White House to Wall Street, he's spent decades at the intersection of policy, markets, and real capital. And he's seen firsthand how institutions use data behind closed doors. Now, as founder of Quasar Markets, his mission is to pull those signals into the open so everyone can see what really moves the markets. This is Stephen E. Orr, Big Beat on Wall Street. Let's filter the future live.
Big Beat, how are you doing today, my friend?
I guess we both got the gray memo today.
Yeah, we haven't matched in a while. You know, you got some cold weather down there.
A little bit. It's supposed to be in the 80s a little bit later today, but
okay, never mind. Shut up. Yeah. I'm done. Done talking weather.
Look, Nvidia saved the markets last night, right? There was a big beat. It was a big beat, as I said on the show, but the guidance wasn't what I wanted to hear, but I did like what Jensen Huang had to say about the markets got AI wrong. And I said this, I'm saying it again. They got it freaking wrong. And now we're hearing it. Now we're hearing it from the people that are actually doing the stuff. And, we're not, as I have been saying, something is really weird in the crypto market. And now we know why. It was Jane Street. It was not charts. It was not anything else. Jane Street did an absolute. Somebody's going to go to jail probably over this. And for those of you who say who may not, it happened in India. They did the same thing in India, and they nailed them in India. And the lawyers stopped them and said, "Look, you're doing the same thing." And guess what? Lawyers are coming for you again, boys and girls. Jane Street, you're in trouble, and I'm happy for that.
And if you don't know what Steve is talking about, I mentioned it in my open. Part of Bitcoin squeeze yesterday is being attributed to the fact that Jane Street was supposedly dumping on retail every day at 10 a.m. Eastern time and then buying back later and rinsing and repeating and continuing to do that with large amounts. They are under threat of an insider trading. They've been called out by whistleblower, the trustee of Terra Luna, Terraform Labs trustee from the bankruptcy, who says they were in those days front running the demise of the Luna Terra peg and all of that. So yeah, that was always the claim, that they were one of the ones that were responsible for that. No one could ever really prove it. And I do have to point out, there's still been no one's been able to tie a wallet yet to it, but it does look like it's the case. It wouldn't surprise anybody if you read the the complaint or the whistleblower's statements. They had a group chat text, and they basically knew exactly what was going on, and then happened to back out of a deal at the last minute that would have probably not have stopped the issue, but might have given people more time to get out of a sinking ship.
No, they're in trouble. They're in trouble.
It's good. What I'll point out too, as soon as it hit 70, though, it turned around. So we're not out of the woods yet, but this could help the structure.
Yeah, there's definitely a wall at 70. We talked about that before, and it built up because of Jane Street, right? People thought, okay, well, this is what top
so you said.
Yeah, I look. There's a lot of shorts at 70, and they're going to get burnt when we go through it again, and we will. It'll jump from 70 to 75, and like it always does. It'll blow through it, and I'm excited about this.
Yeah, and the ETF inflows were great yesterday. Question is going to be, is it institutions who are actually recalibrating and now getting back into Bitcoin at these lower prices, or is it retail who heard it was what happened with Jane Street, and those hands are going to sell? So that's going to be the thing to watch. If the inflows stay, then this is sticky, and this means it could be the start of, like you're saying, that step back up. That's what we have to see over the
not
next
there
year.
yet, but you and I have been through this a million times, and I did not get scared. I didn't like it. I didn't like the selling because it happened all the time, and it was very weird. And I was like, okay, why is this happening? And now we know. So when you understand, when there's clarity, you can make better decisions, right? When there's no clarity in the markets, like this was, and that's why you have laws and rules, right? And that's why people say all the time, we don't need rules in crypto. Yeah, you kind of do, for this very freaking reason, right?
Well, and in this one, they were dealing in the CFTC futures market, so they're going to be in trouble. You know what I mean? As they weren't in the supposedly this was perps and all that stuff. Obviously, because we see the volume, it had to be perps.
And they're good traders, there's good people in that company. I mean, let's not get wrong, but what they were doing was wrong, and they need to pay up. And they have
and jump capital is part of that too that they're talking about with this, you know.
And if you don't know, in India they have frozen assets of $500 million because of the last time they did this nonsense.
And if you don't know, you know, Sam Bankman-Fried, their moral compass, you know, that's where Sam Bankman-Fried and Caroline Ellison came from.
Moral compass is a little off, yes.
That's what I'm saying. That was what I was implying without saying.
I'll say it. I ain't scared. And I'll say this. Sam does not need to get out of jail. He needs to stay there for a little longer. He has taken, you know, this whole nice guy feeling. Look, these are real people's money. That's why we do Quasar Markets. We make sure that we understand this. This is real people's money doing real things, and we want to make sure that we help people make money and not just. This isn't a pump and dump scheme like so many things out there, right? There's so many bad actors in this market, and I want to nail it every single time, and I'm going to do it every single time. I'm going to call them out.
Absolutely. Steve, you started to mention it, you know, NVIDIA's earnings, you know, when it comes to the dollars and cents, I think it hit, you know, it didn't hit what everybody expected. It went well above it, right? It hit the highest buy-side expectations. On both their current quarter and what they're looking at in the future. So that was huge. The only negative I've seen, quite honestly, is that because they didn't talk more about shoring up their supply chain, that they could lose some sales to competitors, that they're letting people into that moat because they haven't done a good enough job of securing what they need, as we've talked about.
And everything that we've talked about for the last 6 months. And I also will put on top of that the retail side of this also has been neglected. All they care about.
There's no you know, I luckily just got a new computer that has an NVIDIA, you know, GPU in it because there aren't going to be many. Get them now.
Well, it doesn't, and I think that's what they're saying, right? The NVIDIA as a company is changing, and they're pivoting to this data AI set, and I understand that. That gives room to AMD for retail, which is I might think about. You know, is it at this point the commoditization of the chipsets is a little interesting to me. Is an NVIDIA chip way better? Back in the day, AMD they ran really hot, so you had. I mean, I have a fan on my machine right now, right? I mean, I have a big house fan on the side of my computer to keep it cool, right? That's how much I've got going on. But that's been fixed, right, from AMD's side. AMD now has much better retail chipsets, and I like that. That's probably what I have a meeting next week with a Dell rep about, you know, a new computer I may be getting, and how do I do that, right? What am I thinking in that process? Do I need an NVIDIA chip or AMD? Can I get away with, you know, am I going to put Intel inside again? You know, those are the things I got to think about. And when I look at that, what is it that I need to have to make all this happen? And so I am going to look at it from the perspective of, okay, Qualcomm, wireless, NVIDIA chipset, AMD, I'm not sure. Do I need Intel inside? Can I have AMD? What kind of chip can I have on it? All of a sudden, that's going to change the structure of a lot of these stocks, right? Okay, well, AMD now is all retail, and they're focusing on, well, no, they're not. They're focusing on AI. Okay, what AI are they focusing on, right? And now we're seeing the Google is, you know, has pivoted as well. So now you've got companies like Perplexity with Comet and browsers. So are these browsers going to need more and more power, or are they going to need less and less? I think they will. I think they'll need less and less because the power is going to be on the data set inside the data warehouses. That will have more or less dumb terminals, but I still want to have a powerful machine on my side in case I have to crunch those numbers. And I have been doing that on my side. So you're absolutely right, Howard, when we look at that. So you know what? And IBM is right at the forefront of that. IBM sell-off was nuts, and I've said that. Now we're 240.5 now share, right? It's a great buy. AI thing was overdone. We know that. And if I asked on the show the other day, how many people in the world have a paid subscription to anything with an LLM or a natural language modeling or anything, any GPT? It's 0.03%.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're not profitable yet. I mean, that's why they're pre-profit, right?
They will be.
I mean,
they will be. They will be very.
Oh yeah, they will be. But that's why. But they're not there yet because they don't. Right. The adoption curve isn't even started.
Right. Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. I'm pointing the same way as you. You know, it's only up. That's only the case. You know, that's why. And that's why what I mean is what people say, well, they don't make any money. Yeah, they don't make any money because they only have
Amazon,
less than 1%. Wait till it gets to 25. I got to tell you, you know, as you know, I've been pushing my wife to learn it better because she works in accounting. And, you know, if you don't know it, you're going to be in trouble. And it's funny because she's been doing it. Her bosses yesterday came to her and said, hey, we want you to lead this initiative because you get it and you know how to utilize it and you can manage people to use it. You know, so there are going to be jobs like we spoke about. It's understanding, putting your arms around it. Right?
That is exactly what I've been saying. It's not going to replace people. It's going to make them more efficient, and you're going to have less people doing it. So you won't even hire them in the first place, right? I mean, software development is going to be a thing of the past. Machines are already building software. But you need people to manage that software development, right? To say, okay, here's what I'm looking for. Here's what I really want the machine to do. Great, the machine will do that. Is this the output you're looking for? No, yes, no. And then you're formulating the machine. You still need that. Right? You need what I'm going to call royal prompters. I mean, you're going to need a separate shit. But you are going to be the one in lead, and you're going to make a whole lot more money. A lot more money. You'll triple your salary because you'll be the person that's managing the and you won't even need, you'll be able to save money for the company and say, look, how much did I save the company by not having, right? And that person that didn't get the job will learn and get a better job.
Right. Absolutely. That's exactly what it's going to be. Steve, I got to ask, do you have Samsung Envy? Have you seen the new, I don't know if you saw the new phone or if you're ignoring it.
Yeah, I have had long chats with people about the new Samsung coming out and the privacy sides. Okay, I mean, I got glass on mine, so I have the privacy sides. I understand that. I don't have an Envy yet. Samsung still. I will say that the new one with 200 megapixel camera is very interesting, and I like that. I liked it when it had a 50, then 100, now it has 200. The problem with that is that our eyesight can't see 200 megapixels, right? Unless you're putting close.
Yeah, it's like when they say it's in 4K and there's only, again, 1% of the population that can see anything in 4K.
Yeah, I mean, and the 8K is a waste, right? I like because they're getting bigger and bigger, but our eyesights can't see in 8K, right? So it's a waste. So great, get away from the 8K. Now get down. Same thing with screens or with wearables. Or I like that it's going to be an 8K or OLED. That's the kind of updating that I like, right? So no, I don't have Samsung Envy yet. I will say that the new version of the iPhone and the Gmail aren't getting along. I can't reply well, so that sucks. I'm not happy about that. So you can't hit the reply button. The keyboard doesn't pop up. Does anybody know about that issue yet? That sucks.
I don't have the new one, so I can't give you that answer. My old one works with it there. Steve, what do you think? You know, we've gone red to green this morning in general. Now Nasdaq's gone red again. Sorry, I was going to say we've gone red to green.
Nvidia's going to hold the market up. We're going to hold the market. OpenAI says they're currently experiencing issues with ChatGPT. Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing how great all these AIs are. I have them all on my system. I have them all, and not one. I don't care how much smash in my face. Yeah, I don't do thingies. That's right. Yeah. If you think about this, Zora, and thank you back, by the way, you're absolutely right. I'm seeing all this about how great Perplexity Finance is going to be. I've tried it. I'm like, dude, I used this kind of stuff when I was in grade school, high school. This isn't going to be the end all. This is not going to take over the Bloomberg. But yet you're seeing this smash mouth kind of grab posting on Twitter by bots and making you feel like it's important. It's not, right? It's not that good. You know what? And here's the problem with it. It's still one piece of a puzzle. It's not the whole thing. It's literally one little piece of the puzzle. It's going to make you a little bit better. Okay. But that's not the key to everything in finance and lifestyle, right? So no, I'm not worried about AI taking over my life and finance. And trust me, I look at my phone and I have AI everywhere, and it makes me a lot more efficient. I can run a lot more things, and I can run a whole company with fewer people. That's great. But at the same time, it's not always perfect. And you always have to, and especially with Perplexity, a lot of their data is crap. So you've got to be very careful with that, right? And actually banks are banning them because of that very reason. And so you have to be very careful about that, right? And there will be, and look, this is why politics is very important, folks, why we talk about it, because Democrats come back into power. there's going to be this serious overlay going, hey, we're going to put a roadmap on AI. The Democrats already have it. So if you're not thinking about that come November, you better be thinking about it.
Okay. I love it, Steve. So we've got your tune. I'm going to get out of here. I see you got your man Dave coming in. I'm going to get him in here for us. Good to see you, sir. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to leave you to have a great show.
Dave Conley, how are you, my man?
Steve, I am so well. How are you doing today?
I'm good, man. And for those of you out there in Quasar Markets Live, let's please welcome Dave Conley to the show. Dave will be doing Tuesdays and Thursdays with me. I'm super excited about this. For those of you who love to O, and I did too, and he's a dear friend of mine. O is has a lot of things going on right now, and he'll be part of the show down the road as well. He's going to help us with that. But Dave Conley, Dave, let's talk about it. You are the founder of Solving America's Problems as part of the problems of why we have to get into this. And thank you, Zora. Appreciate that for Dave. And, you know, one of the things that we melt this all into finance, right? It's all one big thing. So Dave, talk to us a little bit about who you are and why we need to talk to you, man.
Oh, well, thank you, Steve. So I've lived 1,000 lives, right? That's what I love about, you know, some people where they know exactly what they're going to do their entire life and they do it. But for me, it's always been just like this intense curiosity. I started my life in technology back in the 90s, really creating the consumer internet. And I did that both in the public and private sectors. I worked in technology during the Obama administration. And then I started going off and doing my own companies, and just one company after another. I think I created 9 companies in 3 years. Then I taught entrepreneurship at the collegiate level and got into philanthropy and investing. And now, you know, my hidden love was always politics, but not politics in the way that we think about it now, which is this hammer and tong kind of world. But really, growing up in Washington, D.C., it was always, to me and my neighbors, how left and right, we lived next to each other and we loved up each other and we disagreed on how, but we agreed on the what. And that mentality that was born out of Eisenhower, born out of Kennedy, where we knew that government could do great things. That's where my world is. And then meeting my co-host on Solving America's Problems, Jeremy Alexander Newsom, who is how you and I met, you know, he was like, man, I really want to run for office. And I'm like, man, I really want you to too. And so we started a great podcast, which is just growing leaps and bounds. And Steve, thank you for being on it and helping us with some really cool issues. And that's sort of my world today. For maybe this audience, the things that drive me and really talking about your world is something that's often overlooked, which is not just how politics interacts with what we do and how we make money. That's sort of obvious to everyone, but I'm very interested in how the deeper layers, the global macro trends, and how politics can push those in unintentional ways, and how politics and government just see past each other. And even when you have great business leaders in politics and in politics going into business, there's still a mismatch. And I think it's mostly a language issue, and rather than fixing individual problems, they fix individual problems at the time and then they fire and forget. So that's me. That's my world.
I love it, Dave. We're going to get right to the markets this morning. And, you know, I think that when we talk about politics, we always want to make sure that we understand that we don't care about either side. We care about how it affects us in a way that moves the country forward. How we look, Republican, Democrat, liberal, whatever you are, libertarian, and hopefully no one's a communist or socialist too much. But but when you look at that, how does it affect the markets? And this morning we're seeing NVIDIA obviously telling us the world is still moving forward with AI. We're hearing all those things, Dave. But we've also hearing that you know, the approval rating of the president now has hit another new low, according to Fox themselves, which had the lowest poll at 36% this morning. CNN even had him at 38 and 39, so even higher. So anybody saying, "Oh, it's a CNN poll," they can turn to Fox. That's not good. That's not good for the mentality of the presidency. It's not good mentality of the United States as a country. And the other countries looking at us like, oh, look how weak the president is, right? The only thing he has is a bully pulpit. He's using that to the military. So do people have jitters when it comes to investing right now?
Do people have jitters? I would say that there's seemingly such a disconnect from the day in and day out that most people see and most people feel, and disconnect from politics, and then disconnect from finance. So we are living in a post-reality world. We see it online, and that has never been reality. And then adding AI to that, as we're talking about NVIDIA, creates even this crazier realm. And then you live your daily life, which is totally different. And then you look at the money in the market, that seems totally out of whack. And then you look at politics and you're like, holy smokes, is anything real anymore? And so, when you get that much uncertainty in people, then you get uncertainty in markets.
Yeah. And is it affecting your investing as well, Dave? Are you changing the way that you're thinking about the markets with all of the external geopolitical issues going on with Ukraine, say like China? Are you thinking outside the box a little bit, saying, okay, I'm a little nervous, I'm going to buy gold, or I'm nervous, I'm going to buy the VIX or anything like that? No, there's really nothing for me right now. Certainly there's nothing that is worth buying because everything is at its top in the top. Like there's nothing where I'm like, hey, that's a good idea. That's connected with some reality. So this, wherever we are right now, needs to sort of, we need to understand where we are going. Otherwise, it's really just gambling. As far as broader trends or macro trends, I'm really interested. Sure, you'll always have externalities like Ukraine or Israel and Iran and all of that. That'll always be there, right? Like there's always weirdnesses. There's broader things that are more curious to me, like Germany's demographics or France's inability to pass a budget. Germany's demographics means Germany was like the workhorse of all of the European Union, and now they're out of money. And so, like, what's that going to do to the European Union? France can't pass a budget to save their lives. They're like second in line, and UK's out. So, like, okay, what's going to go on in Europe? I was like, I don't know. That's a problem. Seeing Boeing now, a little bit of a pop here on the back of that news. Africa is going to buy another 1,700 planes there from Boeing. So kind of liking that news coming out of Boeing a little bit. BA. All right, got about 7 minutes now to the open here. All right, let's pull up the Qs. Qs now sucking wind a little bit here. We were green a little bit. Now we're back red. It is going back and forth. Obviously, the big numbers this morning with NVIDIA. NVIDIA with a big win last night, a big beat, up 8% on revenue, but just can't seem to hold here. Do you think we're going to have a strong open here, Dave, to the downside or the upside here?
I'm not the one to answer on that one right now. I don't know. I could go. It's a coin flip for me right now.
All right, I like that. Okay, dollar, the Dixie right now sitting at 97.70 right now. So obviously a little bit of a push last night on the dollar. Could hit 98 soon. Look, spot gold now 51.67 now announced. And WTI, West Texas Intermediate now slipping also 64.13 a barrel. So obviously the issues with Iran might be abating a little bit. The president did say during the State of the Union that get it in line, or by the end of the month, we're going to come knock on your door.
So that's exactly some of the disconnect that I would like to talk about, that I would recognize, is that Iran, doesn't supply that much oil. It's like a million barrels a day, and they were already under pressure because the shadow fleet, which actually moves their oil and the oil of Russia, is under attack. I mean, the United States said it was okay, and then India started going after it, and that was like a big deal because India and China are the last two main players in this. India likes taking the oil and then selling the delta between what they buy for it and what the market will do it. So the shadow fleet's but if Iran went off today, it's not that big a deal, and the United States is an energy exporter, so it's like this is this is one of those disconnects where it's like, until something radically happens with Russia and mainly Europe buying that and China buying that, then I'm on the sidelines on that one.
I like it. I totally agree with you on that, actually. All right, so we're starting to see NVIDIA still slipping here. Probably go negative. Most of you know on the close yesterday, after NVIDIA did bring up the numbers, I did short NVIDIA yesterday, and I did cover that short, and then it popped back up. But I think we're going to have a pretty weak day here. I'm pretty sure. Copper futures now down 0.32% as well. Platinum down 1.48%. Corn, wheat, soybeans, and sugar all up. Coffee and lumber down. So the breakfast trade seems to be weakening there in coffee as well. All right. Anybody else stocks you want to look at this morning, let me know. We'll look at them also in the charts, but I will keep the cues up. We've got about 4 minutes now to the open. 4 minutes now to the open. We'll pull up. I'll pull up silver here as we saw. There we go. I want to pull up a 1 hour chart on silver. As yesterday, it hit around 91.50. I spoke to our boy Peter last night, Peter Thomas, obviously for the metal markets, and was saying that a lot of people who obviously were long the 121s and doubled down at 63 around there now is fairly flat here, and they were in what we call beaching. Obviously, they were beaching some of their contracts here at 91. They were finally a little bit in the green and took a little bit of profit off as they had dollar cost average through silver. So I think now we need to get through this next section. We might actually see a push to the upside here. As Peter was saying to me last night, that there's still buyers of silver, but there is enough silver out there to cover the paper. So if you're looking to buy physical silver through the COMEX or NYMEX, you will have the ability to actually take delivery. It may be a little late, but there is delivery. So I do like that. Yeah, Dave, I appreciate you being on the show, man. This is really good. It's going to be fun having you on Tuesdays and Thursdays, spitting out some diamonds and bringing you on.
Definitely give a different perspective. I'm not following it day in and day out like you are, which I love. But, if I can just give a little bit on the other side of this and a little bit of maybe a long-term or a macro or how this is fitting in the rest of the world, take it for what it is.
I love it. I love it. All right. James is asking here. Okay. Let's start. I'm sorry about that. Vish is asking about Amazon. I agree. I like Amazon, Vish. I like it long-term. As you know, I have a long-term position in Amazon. I will continue to have a long-term position. About a few days ago, as you know, I did put a straight line on this, and that's where the bounce was. So I still like this short-term. I think we get back to 220, somewhere around there. If you're looking for options, you see where my lines are. You see where the pennant's going. So if you're looking at it probably sometime in August, I would be looking at 220 calls. That's what I'm looking at. I'm sorry, 210 calls in August. I do have 210 calls on, by the way, in early September. So to answer that question, I hope that helps. Vish. James is now asking about, NVIDIA, of course. Our position crowded, exhausted, everyone owns it. Yes and no. There are people who are still buying it. Obviously, you're seeing this is the 1 hour chart here, and you can still see that there is a bounce around there, and there are people still buying it, still playing it. And you heard Jensen Huang talk about it yesterday, saying very clearly that the question mark around NVIDIA was that the AI narrative hasn't changed, and no, the AI world is not. The market's got it wrong. That it's not going to take away software. The software is going to implement the AI. So they got it wrong, and I agree with Jensen Huang on that. Dave, you got a different opinion on that?
I think the promise of AI right now is at an inflection point. Now that all this money's been put in, all this capex has actually been put in, it's like, okay, show me, right? It's not just bottom line, it's top line that you have to start improving. So until I see that realistically, like right now, they're just not doing the hiring, or they're replacing, or they're taking one person and doing 10 times the amount of work with them. That's great, but is that translating into dollars? It's not. Show me, show me the money on it.
Yeah, and I agree. I think we just had Howard was talking about his wife. He was in accounting, and in that situation, you know, she's now, because she got involved in AI early, she's now the person that now runs that for her team, and that's smart, right? That was the way that it should have been, right? And I've heard from so many people saying that, oh, I don't want to learn AI, it's not going to be the future. I mean, that's just silly too, Dave, right?
It's kind of our only future.
It's our only future.
We have to treat it like
sorry about this, Dave. Markets are now open right now, and we are moving. Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, we have to treat it like existential. That whatever it is you are doing right now is going to be totally different shortly. You know, like we've already seen exponential growth in exponential change in how we do things. It's touching everything that we're doing now. People are really starting to see, like, holy smokes. So both good side and bad side. This is the first technology. This is the first thing ever that we grow like a plant. We don't know what it's happening. We don't know what it's doing. And we're having absolutely no political discussion on it other than don't build an AI center or don't build a power center, which is like, okay, cool. But we are not realistically talking about it. It can be both doom and gloom, and it can be amazing, and it's going to be both.
And I'm going to look at Unity software here too, and I totally agree with you on that. Unity software popping here a little bit. I do like this one here as well. Haven't made a move yet, but I feel bad and stupid that yesterday I didn't buy Unity on that dip. I really wanted it, and I made the mistake of not picking that up on that dip there. And IBM now 241 now, up over 3.5 points now. And Hood is still down a little bit. Nvidia down about $2 here. You know what? I might start to look at Nvidia here a little bit if that's the end of this selling here. Pull up a day chart here now of Nvidia. As we all know, the high there now was 212. So we know that they can get back up there. It does seem a little bit overbought here, but Nvidia is the company. And be careful out there. Jim Cramer is now talking about Nvidia on CNBC. So do be careful out there. I will back off his new pair of his old granny glasses now. I like Jim. If you don't know, I do like him as a person, actually. Pushing higher here now on Bitcoin now back to 68,000 here. Could get back to 69 here soon. For those of you who don't know, I did convert my Shiba into Bitcoin yesterday. I like that run. We popped about 11%. As you know, the other day I popped a link for 15%, like that. IBM now at $5 here now. IBM now pushing is one of the companies that I'm really, really liking here. I love the IBM is doing right now. I love this move here. Yeah. I think I'm going to take a swing here at Unity Software. I do like the move here, and I do like the sell-off that happened. I thought it was a little overdone. And I'm going to buy some shares here, quite a few. Now we're seeing IBM now up $5 now. And I did make a buy here now in Unity Software. Be a little bit longer term there, I think, as well. You're seeing, yeah, there you go. I do like that, and why we've talked about this in the past. I've showed these on the charts several times. See these rounding bottoms? I do like that. And you can see here on the daily chart that this thing is turned now, and I do like that too as well. Be some good news as well out of it. But if you play games, you know damn well that's where it is. You play games at all, Dave?
Oh, love it. I'm a poker player. I like and backgammon. I like something that has a little bit of skill and a whole lot of luck.
Okay, so you have a new job now. Your job is to teach BigBeat, me, how to play backgammon. I've never played backgammon. I need to learn.
It is the best. Yeah, you got it.
And you know, you're hearing about backgammon in a lot of China and a lot of Asian countries are now playing backgammon all the time. Like these have this huge. And I heard in New York City is now a big deal.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's fun. It's approachable to everyone, and there's absolute skill that's involved. But it's not the kind of skill that you have in chess, right? Like it's like there's so much luck involved. It's like a world-class player can certainly get beaten by anybody who's walking off the street.
I love that. Okay, then you got to teach me how to play backgammon. That's one thing I have never learned. I'm going to learn that one. All right, Vish is asking again about Jan 2027 calls and 210s. No, I don't think so. I think no one's stopping buying stuff on Amazon. Have you stopped buying things on Amazon, Dave?
You know what? I'm going to have to talk to my financial advisor, Mr. Newsom, on that one.
We buy too much on Amazon.
He's in a cave right now, so I gotta break him out of a cave.
Well, you can always bring him in the show. I love my boy Jeremy. I've known him a long time now. I love what he did. All right, we're still looking at IBM here. There goes Unity now popping a little bit here. I like that. And IBM now up $4 now. Okay, let's get back up there. See if we can push up against the numbers again. 242.50 was the high of the day there on. But as the Qs are still selling off here, Qs now sitting at 613, 614 now. So we could see a turnaround there. The Qs could have put another push there on that. NVIDIA now down over 2.36% now. Could see Unity go positive. Could see Unity. Let's see. Does it go positive on me here? Down only 7 cents now. We might see an actual move here to the upside. And we just saw it hit the green level there. Loving it there. Okay, great. 1858 now flat on the day. Could we see another pop to the green side? IBM now 242.30 now near the 242.41 near the highs of the day now. IBM still pushing here now. IBM 242.40 trying to break the highs of the day here. Q's still slipping here. 242.47. Look at that. I am seeing some selling here though. You can see up there. Look at that line up there. Boom. Yeah. Sorry. There you go. 241.69. That's where the sellers were. But it's okay though. I think we break above that today. Break above that. I'm going to take another couple more days. If you look at a 1 hour chart, you can see exactly what I'm seeing. Right. It's now coming in the middle of that top of that linear regression up there. So I understand that, but I think we push through, and I think we get right back. This was, when we were playing with it at 258. So I do like that. Kramer now talking about Salesforce CRM now. And Bloomberg now talking about NVIDIA. NVIDIA now down over $5 here. I am getting very interested now. Okay, 242.60. IBM did break above the high of the day, and NVIDIA now on the lows of the day here. 189.42, down 3% here. Folks, I am going to take a swing at NVIDIA now. I'm going to try to pick some NVIDIA up here. I thought that's what was going to happen a little bit. I am going to start to nibble at it, as Steve Flanagan would say. Not going to go crazy on it, all right? But I'm going to make my first position in it and not try to catch a falling knife, because I don't think NVIDIA is a falling knife, folks. All right, now made that first position now into NVIDIA. Look at that, and now popping back up. Look at that, and again, why? If you've been watching me lately, these rounding has been working pretty well. So I do like this, but remember, it's just a starter position, so I'm not gone full boat yet. 242.33 now on IBM. Today we had a good conversation about guns and gun control in the country.
We did, and we're still in that. We just had a former congressperson on, and got a really great view on that. We have an academic coming up on guns. So for those that haven't listened to our show, and I hope you will, we really approach like the issues of that's going on in the United States in a nonpartisan way, and with maximum curiosity. It's like, okay, let's peel this back and be like, okay, what is this? What is the problem here? What could we do? And time after time, we come up with these very basic, simple solutions that would make the biggest differences in the world, that take it completely out of what seems to be the realm of possibility right now.
And for those of you who don't know, that name of that show, that podcast on Apple, is called Solving America's Problems. And I like it. And it is updated quite a bit. There are, I think there's like 190 podcasts. I think I'm the only one that's been brought back. Is that right, Dave?
You're our first repeat. Yes, you are, sir. I would have you on every day.
Oh, very good. And folks, I'm going to put that out for everybody. So if you click on the link right now, you can actually go to the podcast now. I'll give it to you on Spotify too as well, because not everybody has Spotify. I get, or Apple. I understand that. So I'll give it to you on Spotify as well. Any other place you have it, let me know, and I'll put it out there too as well. But we'll put that link out there. So click on that link, download it. Oh, look at that pop now in IBM. Now IBM now up once again, and the Q's now turning here, now up 2.28%. But there is there's the turn. I said, but talking about NVIDIA as well, as NVIDIA's also made a purchase now too, also at NVIDIA. All right, look at that. Very good, very good. NVIDIA now pushing back up, as I thought that was the case. And Unity Software now green on the day, so I do like that as well. For those of you who are asking me where I got in, 1853.5 there on U. Yeah. And 243.59 now. We are now pushing now. Highs of the day. Another buck now on the upside on IBM. So congratulations if you're listening to me on IBM earlier. And if you've been paying attention, we've been long IBM on that big sell-off the other day. That I thought that was absolutely nutty. And congrats if you're paying attention on that one too. For those of you who also know that Robinhood now is up 0.8%, and I'm actually green on Robinhood. For those of you who know, I went and bought that dip and have been crushing Robinhood as well. So a lot of good going on around the markets here today. Paramount Skydown's popping here. PSKY now again, that big battle on Paramount PSKY. Dave, politics are definitely getting involved in the Warner Brothers, Netflix, Paramount, barbarians at the gate back in Nabisco, right? Seems a lot like what's going on right now.
You know, I was a part of this, right? Like, so my first job was at this little company called America Online, which turned into this like giant behemoth. And we have, you know, widely the worst merger in U.S. history. As you know, we went into this world of you know, buying you know, CNN and Warner Brothers and the rest of it. And you know, like I have not seen a consolidation in this space that has made sense in the last 30 years. So like when you're getting into this consolidation space, I'm going to be like, okay, then what? You know, like what's the then what? So it's like, okay, looks good right now, but like, what's it going to be in 6 months? What's it going to be in 6 years? I don't know. I don't get it. What do you think? Uh-oh.
I think the problem is that when you look at media does well when it's built, not when it's bought.
Yeah.
When you're buying it for a specific reason, right? You're buying it because you're trying to, you can't really figure it out which direction we're at, right? So that to me bothers me a little bit. Yeah. So that just really bothers me. I don't know. I feel like if you're Netflix and you need to grow, well, grow it. And they did grow it the right way. They grew it by international, okay. And I'll pull up Netflix chart, and I like that. And it was cheaper for them. And I'm pissed at myself for not buying Netflix at 83. I said that yesterday, and I'm still not doing it. I don't know why. IBM now up 3% now in the day. But Paramount now getting daddy involved with the CEO, and now going to call the president of the United States to get involved. Now get the attorney general involved, and now there's politics involved now. So I'm not a big fan of that.
No. Again, I haven't seen it work. So, you know, any kind of post-merger, my lesson learned was look what they do like in the immediate three months. If they take out all of the top executives and give them their golden parachutes, then they got a chance. If they don't, then you're just stuck with more of the same problem.
I agree. Now, good Lord, IBM again on the highs of the day. The big winner this week, IBM. Now, if you bought this dip with us, I doubled down, as everybody knows. Now on the highs of the day are 244.71 now, up almost 3% on the day. Wow. Q slipping a little bit here, so be careful out there. Dollar slipping as well, 97.65. WTI also slipping, $64 a barrel now, 64.10. And Bitcoin a little bit underneath the 68,000 handle there. I'm not seeing too much there. I'm not too worried about Bitcoin now that Jane Street's out, right?
So in politics, there's been, from the administration, a clear push to weaken the dollar. How How does that affect your? I'm not. How does it affect your world? But what do you think from the financial side?
Look, a weaker dollar makes our product cheaper, but a weaker dollar also makes it harder for us to go international. So to buy international products. So there is a give and take. But to me, the problem in this administration is the tariffs. I'm not a big fan of the tariffs, right? Tariffs have never worked, and they still continually not working right now. It's costing the American people, not the company. It's always borne by us, and so I don't like that. And it hurts us. So a weaker dollar also hurts us doubly whack. Now we get double whack. Now we have a weaker dollar to buy, and we like. Look, it's like drugs, man. If you want to more on drugs, half people don't like drugs. I mean, we are addicted to cheap TVs. We're addicted to computers. We're addicted to our iPads. Well, in order to do that, you have to have the chipsets that they're made internationally. So the president's saying, okay, well, let's manufacture them here. Not so sure that's going to work out here. Yeah. I don't see that happening here.
No. I mean, we're very good at high-end manufacturing in certain areas. This isn't one of them. It takes years and years and years to get the dies right and to get to do this thing, to do the voodoo of building that kind of stuff here. We are very good at high-end, and the low-end and mid manufacturing we ship elsewhere. That's where Mexico has come in, and Mexico is now doing a great job of doing mid-tier, and so that's eating at companies, particularly in the southern U.S. that have done a lot of mid-tier. So, that's what to look out for. Where's the manufacturing for the low end going? And I think it's further south. I think it's Colombia.
Oh, I totally agree with you. I think Latin America, because it's in the same time zone. I totally agree with you. I think Colombia, I think Brazil, Brazil's gonna be huge. I think Peru could be a big, and you talk about it from that LATAM side of it. That's where silver comes from, right? Peru and Colombia and Mexico. So, and we need silver and gold in these products. Especially lithium for batteries. So I totally agree with that on this situation. And I tell you what, Dave, here on the show, I think you should have your own show here on Quasar Markets, man.
Wow.
What do you guys? What's everybody think out there? Hey, for those of you who are watching us Quasar Markets Live, thank you so much. As you know, I love this. Make sure you retweet us, subscribe, hit Dave up on LinkedIn as well. Make sure. We're seeing a pump now in Palantir here. Palantir up 1.5% here as AI getting back right back into it. Unity Software now near the highs of the day here as I just bought Unity, and look at that run on Unity. Look at that. Oh, give me another pop to the upside there. But Dave, I don't know. I think you should have your own show here on Quasar Markets.
Wow. Well, we'll see if there's some product market fit for folks.
I love it. I love it. 1891 now on Unity Software, ticker U there, and we're seeing Palantir pushing higher. So look, I like this. This is the stock pickers market right now, and it's working for a lot of us. I like it.
And I sent you a link to our podcast. It covers Spotify, it covers Apple, it covers our last 3 episodes. It's a great link.
Yep, and actually, Dave, you have the ability to also do that too as well. If you click on that, and in the comment section on the right, just click on the comments and click Control V, copy paste, and put it right in there. For those of you you're talking about, he's talking about, there it is, and I posted that there for you. So click on that link. You now have it to his podcast, but it's now in the comments on the right hand side, popping out there. But give Dave some love as well. Loving the numbers here, folks. Thanks so much. We appreciate that. Make sure to retweet us out there. Make sure to get us out there. We love this. Yeah. Unity Software now 1891 now a share here. Another move to the upside here, up 1.8%. NVIDIA now, looking at NVIDIA, still slipping a little bit here. The knife is still falling. I think I'm going to pick up a little more shares of NVIDIA. I do like NVIDIA here. Now we're getting in the numbers that I do like, folks. So I do like this, and I think the selling is stupid. So that's when I like to buy things. All right, 1894 now near the high of the day. 1907 was the high of the day, so we're making another push here. On your charts, again, I talk about this all the time. It's this rounding thing, right? Make sure you're paying attention to the rounders, and it's going. Look at that. I like this rounding. And I bought a little bit more NVIDIA there, folks. And for those of you who are playing at home with me, I am now a little bit longer now on NVIDIA. Yeah. So you see where my numbers are popping out. You saw the first originals. There we go. And we get right back up there. And I am, yep. Bitcoin slipping a little bit, 67.4 now. A little bit of a dip there, that drop there. Analysts now saying Jane Street 10 a.m. dump claim says Bitcoin isn't easily manipulated. That is a farce. That's nonsense. That's lawyers trying to get out there now and paying off. No way. It is very easily manipulated when they have that kind of money to move around. NVIDIA now pushing. There it is, right back to numbers. There's that rounder. See?
There's an argument to be made that it's only manipulated.
I'm with you on that one. It's, yeah. Unity Software right up there, the 19 handle here. Let's see if we can break the 19 handle and push right on through. And Unity Software did pop up there, and I did take my profit here, folks. I had a huge order on there. Look at that pop on Unity. Well done if you're playing along with me, folks. Look at that move, 1917 now. We were negative and now positive on the day. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we do here. I made a move from 1853 to 1908. So 1909, looks like 1909, yeah. And I took a profit and ran. So that's making money here, folks, today. IBM is now up, folks, I'm not making this up. It's now up $8 now. On the highs of the day. Any stocks that you actually like out there, and Dave?
Right now, no.
You don't like the market, do you? You don't like it. You don't like it.
No, not right. Today, no. I mean, there's plenty of stocks that I like, but you know, at these prices, it's hard. You know, it's like hard.
Yeah.
Look at every single asset class. It's at record highs, and like I've lived this before. 2008 and 1999. It's like I've lived this before. It's like
we all have. Does this feel like? Does this? Yeah, there you go, Brian. Congratulations, man. Well done. I'm glad to see a lot of other people making money too as well. I love that. Now, we don't tell people what to buy or sell. We don't do that here. But, I mean, to me, that was a very interesting situation there, and I like that. So, and you can see the rounder, and I'm seeing another rounder here too again. So, could push on up. But, folks, we were buying it here and sold it there. That's a pretty good run in a one morning show here. And it in just a few minutes. So, we nailed Unity. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. Okay, but and this is why the Qs are selling off. But I mean, come on, Dave. Does this feel like 08 to you? I mean, you and I both been through that time frame.
Yeah.
Does it feel like an 08? Yeah. Does it feel like 1997? Does it feel like 87? Does it feel like all those times?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Come on, when what is it from The Big Short? It's like when you start hearing strippers talk about their house, the number of houses that they buy. It's like, okay, great, okay, well there's a problem, right? So yeah, there's this not only just irrational exuberance, it's bonkers. Not to say that there isn't money to be made, particularly in individual stocks. Like I'm not going to be a doomer and gloomer on this. I'm just saying that there's nothing underpinning the upside. It is just psychological. So
Right.
with everything being psychological, it's like, well, then anything can bring it down, like literally anything. So we are out of predicting, and we're into this world of like, I don't know. Like if anybody says that they know, is like, okay, yeah,
I'll tell you, that's exactly right. I don't. You're absolutely right, Dave. Even some of the and we have a lot of guests on this show, as everybody knows here. A lot, very professional, and everybody has a very different, widening opinions. And when opinions start widening out, that's when I get nervous, right?
Yeah.
But no one's saying long or short here, folks. If you don't know, I did take a little bit more off of IBM here, just a little bit more, because we're now up another 4% here. So I do like this. I'm peeling a little bit more off on IBM. Yeah. Unity Software, look at this bust up to the top. Look at that, 1938 now, up 4%. So, wow. I guess people were listening on the show out there. I appreciate that. But Robinhood now has turned green. I do like Robinhood as well. I think Robinhood will push up as well. I do like what's going on there as well. Wow, good morning on the markets here for me. Dow now 210 points. NASDAQ down 155 or 0.67%. And the SPOOs here down 0.24%. Right, split the difference right now. And we know we don't split the difference. So, yeah. NVIDIA has now become my largest position now, folks. So for those of you who don't know, I am now, my biggest position now is NVIDIA now. I started buying NVIDIA. I like this dip. Unity Software is still pumping now, 1940 now a share, as Robinhood is now pumping here, now at 43 cents now, the highest of the day now. Robinhood now could get back up to 78.50, which was the early morning. Could get 78 really quickly here as we get. Those are my lines. As everybody sees my lines right there on the charts. Wow, look at the numbers here. Watching us live here, Dave. All right, let's get them out there. I appreciate that, Brian. Yeah, look, that's what I do. And of course, Zora nailed her 6.5 points from the ES future. So well done, Zora. I'm very proud of you, Zora. You're a good trader. I like hitting those singles all the time. That's very good. Unity Software now 1943 now a share here. Netflix up 2%. I'm still kicking myself and not picking up my Netflix again here. $246.90. What are we on IBM now? We're at 246.84 now. That another rounder there, so be careful there on IBM. It really is struggling now. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to the upside. That's a lot, and Algo's probably be picking that up. So be careful out there. What do I mean by that? Okay, well that's the number of. There you go. That's the number of consecutive green bars on the upside, and 9 is usually the most. 8 usually is where it's at, and then they stop. That's a lot of bars. So downside. I love it, Zora. That's right. Get your discipline on. That's exactly right. I've been saying this, Dave, that my thesis lately has been that in this world right now, that common sense is out the door. We need to get back to just flat out common, as my dad would say, common sense, right? And it just seems like common sense has been out the door for a while.
Yeah. Agreed. Right. Like it's not rational thinking. It's not, which means that anything could happen. That's why I'm like, well, predicting the future, it's like, good luck on that. I think you could, but now it's like, forget it. I think, politically, I think, you definitely got to see what is happening with Bezos. You got to see what's going on with the Fed. That's going to be lighting up, here shortly. As far as anything else on the tariffs, I agree with you on that. There's going to be a push for, whatever refund means on that. I think there was a lot of groups and companies that bought essentially insurance, offloading the tariff refunds onto consolidating into groups that actually bought the for pennies on the dollar, the refund thing. So I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go on that. Tariffs is the weirdest thing, but also we've had it for a year and it's really affected small and medium-sized businesses the most, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's been passed along to the consumer. I
love.
I don't know if I said anything there, but it's like, this is like what's going on in politics right now is not pushing anything. So it's all noise right now on the politics side.
What's the feeling in Washington right now? For those of you who don't know, Dave is in DC. What's the thought process around the Beltway about the midterms? Are we going to see a change?
Actually, I live in Miami, but
that's right. You live in Miami now. You lived in DC for so long, that's right? Yeah,
I did. I lived and worked in DC for most of my life, and then San Francisco. The feeling right now is just an absolute shellacking for the Republicans at the midterms, but the midterms are so far away.
They are very far away. Yeah.
Anything could happen. Like if we get into more of a war stance, if we get into a different economic situation, like anything's anything. There is broad disappointment in the groups that voted for Trump and propelled him to the presidency. The independents, sort of like the Maha, the young that really said, hey, we're going to give you a shot because, we think that the devil we know right now is not going to work out for us. Well, it hasn't worked out for this either. So they're not going to show up. But midterms are low turnout anyways. So I'm not going to give you a prediction.
I think the midterm will be a huge turnout, to be honest with you.
It could be. Certainly.
And I'm predicting right now that Texas might turn blue.
I would take that bet.
Okay. All right.
I would put a shiny silver dollar on that one, which is probably
all right. We got it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, top of the hour, 10 o'clock. Dave, so awesome to have you on the show. We'll see you right back here on Tuesdays. For those of you out of Quasar Markets Live, thank you so much, Dave. Last words.
Stay dry out there.
Stay dry, and of course we're staying warm. All right, for those of us at Quasar Markets Live, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you right back here the next show.